So Tej, Wendy, what is the mission and purpose of the Tej Kohli Foundation?
When we first started, it was to help poor children who were either orphans or their parents were in trouble. We had certain criteria. It has evolved into something much more now. Now it is to end blindness in general, but in our case, I think we are focusing more on corneal blindness because that's what we have been doing for the last 8-9 years. So we are going all over the world trying to find new cures. We are trying to come up with more scientific research than we had previously done. And it has been very rewarding. I mean, you have to see some of these cases which we first saw. I remember Wendy and I walked into this first one. The first one I did was I was by myself, and I saw this person who we helped. He was 54 years old. He was blind. He had never seen his wife and had never seen his two children, who were both grown-up young men, 22, 20 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And I was in the room when, for the first time, they opened his eyes. And thanks to what we did, that was the first one. And he could see his wife. And you go through a few hundred of these, which both Wendy and I have been very fortunate to have seen. And you almost have to do more. So that's the mission. Being a technologist, now my focus is more on trying to find other ways, faster ways. I mean, look at this artificial intelligence, look at robotics. We are now entering into the highest form of genomics, all of which we are involved in our business life. So it makes sense to bring some of these measures to bear on the charitable side or our philanthropic side, which has nothing to do with each other. But we need to bring some technologies to advance this very important cause which this world needs. I mean, look, there are 42 million blind people in this world, and of which 12 million are blind due to corneal blindness. And it's a big job, and I think technology is going to help us get there.
You've become well known for that mission to end blindness. Why is it so important?
Well, worldwide, we have 285 million people with visual impairment. So if we can help, if we can prevent, to stop that, it will be a great achievement for us.
It is not in the urban cities or in the large cities or urban areas that the people are poor. It's mainly in the rural areas. I would say anywhere between 60 to 65% of all blind people, let's say in India, are in the rural areas. And the thing that many people don't know, who are attempting to end blindness or curb blindness or to mitigate this very bad disease, is that the toughest part is to find these blind people. And in the rural areas, it's even worse. So a lot of our efforts are going to the rural areas, getting them examined, not necessarily by doctors, because that's why we have these sub-centers. TKCI has 65 centers or thereabouts. And some of these centers are not for cure. It's just to get the person in there, and someone at a very low level looks at them, understands what the disease is, and then through some transmission, we are able to get to our main centers. So this is a challenge. It's not only helping people, blind people, and curing them. It's how do we transport them to the main centers in poor countries. It's a big part of the problem.
Where the Tej Kohli Foundation is a bit different is your belief in technology to solve some of these big global issues. What do you see as the role of technology?
We have to employ technology to move faster than what we are moving so far. It's a little bit frustrating to see things not moving as fast as we can. And I think we need to bring some of our technological expertise which we have over here. So you may have heard quite recently we have aligned with Massachusetts Ear and Eye, which is a subsidiary of Harvard Medical School. And they have brought in some new technologies to us, and we have funded, we've given them $2 million to start with for a specific project called the NanoString project, which is a form of a prevention. It is an early detection. It has gel core, which is a of a tissue replacement of the cornea. So it kind of ties in very nicely with what we are doing, and we are prepared to come in with more money if need be. They are very good people. We know Dr. John Miller and Mr. Fernandez. They are some of the best people you can meet, and we are very proud of our association with them. But this is just an example. I also think quite separate from this, we have been creating artificial cornea, biosynthetic cornea through other doctors and scientists and other people we know in this area. In Montreal, we have a university which has done a lot of research on our behalf, and they have come up with artificial cornea. First it started with yeast, which had a high rejection rate. Then we moved to peptides, which was slightly better but had other issues. And now we have gone into eye cornea, which is rejection rates are much lower, but still it needs some refinement. So we are moving from one technology to another. Technology plays a big role in us trying to solve this massive problem.
Poverty still is a really major factor in blindness, isn't it?
Definitely, out of 12 million people who need cornea transplant, at this moment, 6 or 7, they live in India. And it's very hard for us to decide who are we going to give these corneas and the quantities. So we try to choose young people, 16, younger, small kids, who they will have more chances. Most of the time, we had to choose these kids, give one cornea, so they can see at least in one night, and we have more chances to give more.
We have volunteers in many hospitals running around trying to find people who have deceased. It's very hard to approach their families and ask them to give us, cornea when somebody is deceased. This is the last thing, they want to hear. The problem is the cornea has to be banked within 6 to 8 hours. Otherwise, the cornea is not good. So we have very limited cornea, donor cornea, which is why, to your previous question, technology is essential. We have to come up with artificial biosynthetic cornea to be able to achieve our goals of solving this problem of ending cornea blindness as we know it today. And prevention is a big part of it.
I remember a case that I think we never will forget about this little girl called Nisha in India, near Delhi. It wasn't too far from Delhi, 6-year-old. Our daughter was the same age in that time, and she came and the parents were like, she never seen. She was born blind. We found out that we can help her with giving one cornea, and she couldn't see. So when we came back and the first time they opened, they took the bandages, you remember? And she couldn't see. We were crying. I was crying because it was such an emotional thing. So I think after that, we really got passionate. My husband loved kids. He's absolutely lived for the kids. So this is one cause we thought, what would happen if our girl or someone like is close as you cannot see? If you close your eyes, I can imagine me closing my eyes and walk for 10 minutes. I cannot do that. So I just, for us, it's really
that was a moving moment. There have been many other such moments for us, and I think that's what's inspired us to come so far along as we have. But I think science is a big part of the solution.
You've set your ambition to rid the world of avoidable corneal blindness by 2030. As we sit here today, how realistic is that, and what else do you hope to achieve over the next 10 years?
So, Robin, we have come up with a plan. It's not that we've just picked a number from there. This plan was devised through TKCI, and Dr. Rao, who is a preeminent scientist, he has helped us design this plan where we think it is possible by 2035 is what we are targeting. Now, is it how realistic it is? I don't know. We have to make some scientific strides along the lines that I've spoken about for us to achieve that. Without that, just on donor cornea and helping blind people in the way that a lot of people are at this moment, I don't think it's achievable. So if we do come up, for instance, as an example, cornea transplants, and a lot of the things that Mass Eye and Ear are doing to prevent, it is certainly possible. There is a plan online which I would encourage everybody to read. It is a very, very exhaustive research that has been done by our group and by Dr. Rao and his group. I think it is doable. Now, whether we can achieve it in 2035 or it takes 5 more years, it all depends on how many scientific breakthroughs we can make. It's as simple as that.